we have a lot of announcements happening. So before we
Uh-huh.
start, announcement-wise, we
Well,
do it all at
wait.
the
Oh,
end, right?
wait. Uh-huh.
Hi everyone, how's it going? I was trying to do some last minute organization, but Omar just wanted to kick it off. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
You're
Oh
doing good. You're doing
no.
good. You're doing
Yep.
really
Hold
good.
on a second. My volume is all okay. There we go. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Old Reader New Reader. I am
Love the change in tone of the voice.
yes,
Love
right.
that. So
My name
professional.
is Amanda, and I am a new reader. We got Maddie over there, the other resident new reader, and then we have Omar.
Thank you. I don't have a title. Yes, I love it. How's everybody doing? Go ahead. You're doing a really good job, Amanda.
Yes, thank you. Today, thank you all for being so patient. As you know, we took a break because we had gotten back from C2E2. It was insane. We had a lot of videos to put out, etc. So we took a break, and now we're back with Lazarus, which should have ended our Women's History Month, but instead it's starting what should be our people who use arrows month, but it's not. The Archer month.
Arrow April.
This is Archer April, but we're starting off with Lazarus. So we're reviewing volume 1 of the hardcovers, which collects these 2 trade paperbacks. As you guys know, I bought this one at C2E2. So yeah, so it's written by Greg Rucka, and which we've already read his Wonder Woman run. So we are familiar with the author in that regards. And are we familiar with the artist or anything like that? I don't think so. Michael Lark.
No, you all. I don't think we've read. Well, I don't think we've had anything in Old Reader, New Reader with his artwork.
Okay.
But he's worked with Rucka. He's worked with Ed Brubaker.
Okay. So
by the way, this is available in trade paperbacks, oversized hardcovers. It is still an ongoing series, but we're just going to review book 1 of the hardcovers, collecting issues 1 through 10, or books 1 and 2 of the trade paperback. Also available, I think, Comixology, right, Maddie?
yeah, the first 3 volumes.
Volumes 1 through 3 are available on Comixology Unlimited. So all of the volumes are available on Comixology to buy. But volumes 1 through 3, if you have a Comixology Unlimited subscription, you can read.
And as always, just to remind everybody, the show, we will be talking about spoilers because we're going to dive deep into the world of Lazarus. All right.
Yes.
Go for it, Amanda.
Sure. All right. So, Lazarus, the first story arc we get is called Family. And we get this really interesting introduction to our main character. Her name is Forever Carlisle. And she's basically been killed by a group of men. And she comes back to life and kills them all. So already we knew coming in Lazarus. I had no idea what to expect from this title at all. I'd read nothing about it, but we already knew Lazarus means, reanimating someone, bringing someone back to life, right? So that's the first thing that hits right up the top.
From the book of Batman. No, I'm just kidding. It's from the Bible. It's from the Bible. Lazarus. Yes. But I always clip Lazarus Pit from Ra's al Ghul.
Lazarus Pit or Ra's al Ghul, yeah. Ra's al Ghul? I don't know. Who
I'm not playing that game. Not playing that game tonight. Go ahead.
All right. So basically, we have her with her family. She's getting a checkup by the physician named James and her sister Bethany, and they're asking her, what she remembers and everything like that. And she remembers a little bit, but not a lot. And basically, what we have is a dystopian type of a world. So this is post-apocalyptic, where our Earth or our country is now divided up into 6 controlling families, and each one has their own what is called a Lazarus. Basically, their hand of the king, if you will, I guess. And she is the Carlisles, and she is also a sibling of the Carlisles, or is she? And that is something that is touched upon in this first volume and in the next volume as well. So what we have here is she is sent on a mission to go to Harvest 1, where her brother Jonah and her sister Joanna, who are twins, who have a very Cersei Jaime Lannister relationship, where she.
Are they that bad? No. I don't think they have kids together, do they?
No, they don't have kids together, but they could have.
I mean, they've banged. Is that what you're trying to say? They've definitely banged.
Yes, they bang. So you have that relationship. So she is going to visit them, and when she's going to visit them, they figure out that there's a family called the Mores, and that's another warring faction, another controlling family, and they think that they were trying to steal something, and they think that they're the ones trying to do it because they want to start a war. That's what Jonah's saying. So, of course, this means she has to figure out who the mole is at Harvest One that would have let the More family in. So they have all of their scientists and everything like that, and I think they're all the people who work in service of the family, and then there's people who don't work for the family at all who live in the outskirts, and they're called the Waste, pretty much. And what we have here is she has all the people who work for the family line up and says, Jonah, pretty much, you can already tell right off the bat, her brother Jonah is extremely kind of manipulative, mean, kind of out to get people. And he was like, if no one tells me who did it, you all die. But whoever, confesses, they're the ones who bite the bullet, right? And so one of the older gentlemen, he decides to take the blame, even though Forever's like, she knows he didn't do it, but to protect his daughter, who's a scientist there, he admits the blame. He says he's the one who gave the information to the Moray family, and he is executed by Forever. Now, this leads to a very interesting part in the next issue. That's all of issue 1 of this section of this family, and it's okay. Sorry. So then you have the next section or the next issue where you have a little hint that something may not be what it is. She's with her sister Bethany, and she's asking her to take some pills, or have you take your pill regimen? Have you done your regimen? And she's like, yes, I have. And she's like, it makes me feel like a machine. It makes me feel like I'm not human. Why do you guys make me do this stuff? And she's like, it's necessary. So a lot of hints along the way about what she really is. And then you have her family has a meeting with the. Omar, can you take over for a second?
Yeah.
Sorry, please. Sorry. We're at issue 2. Sorry. 1 second. I'm so sorry.
Sure. She was talking about the intimate relationship between brother and sister, and here they are. This is intimate. Bathing each other, if you will. And man, she's doing it issue by issue. She's so good at this. I was just going to do my story arc. Maddie, are you still with me here?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm here mostly to be to talk about my.
She really absorbed this story because I just reread it like between yesterday and today, and it was like, bam! I was gonna get to the.
It moved so quickly, and so much happened so fast that I'm like Jess, because I can't.
You have a goldfish memory.
You
have a goldfish memory.
Yeah, so I can tell you very generally what's going to happen, but it's not very interesting when I retell things.
Yeah, Amanda's killing it with
sorry.
No, you're doing a really good job.
I was what happens when you have to be a single parent at home. Anyways, yeah. So where were we at? You're talking
right
about
where you left off.
What are you talking about?
Because I was going to talk about the overall arc, and you put me on the spot, and. Yeah, I got camera shy, and I couldn't do this by myself, so...
So, basically, you have a meeting of the minds with all of the Carlisle families. So, you have the patriarch, which is Mr. Carlisle. Then you have brother Stephen, who pretty much follows whatever daddy says. And Jonah and Joanna, who are the twins, who run Harvest One. And Jonah always makes fun of Stephen because he thinks that he doesn't do anything without daddy's approval. And then you have Bethany, who works with the scientist, and she's the one who's monitoring Forever as far as her stuff. And then the last but not least, we have Forever. She is the last sibling. And they're having a conversation with their father about the Mores and about Jonah wants to start a war. He's ready for it. and there's a lot of, you can already tell there's a lot of familial like discord between the family, right? We already talked about,
right.
You know, you have Jonah and Steven kind of bicker, and then of course some of them don't really see Forever as part of the family, and you might think it's because she's the Lazarus, she's their, you know, hand of the king, if you will, or that's why I keep referring her to, because that's what it reminds me of. And what the patriarch's trying to do is figure out what the next step is. Of course, Jonah wants to go to war, and he wants, you know, Mr. Carlisle obviously does not really want to go to war, or he has other things in mind. So he tells everyone to leave, except for Forever, because he wants to talk to her, because she is the only one out of all of his children that he trusts. And
or so we think.
Or so we think. Gosh, yeah. No. And so,
sorry to interrupt, but I just had a thought when you were talking about it. But I don't know if you've ever seen Repo the Genetic Opera. Maybe some of our fans have. It's kind of like
I've heard of it. Yes.
Yeah, it's a little musical. It's kind of creepy, but it has a very similar feeling as far as the
Giles,
family.
Giles is in that.
Yeah, Giles is in it.
Yes.
It's
the guy that was in Sorry,
family hierarchy. Because you have that family that's kind of runs everything, and you've got the father that's in charge, but then you've got these children that aren't necessarily in line with what he wants, and aren't necessarily he doesn't really trust.
Yeah.
So it's more like it reminded me a lot of that, because I felt like Forever was just kind of like he was using her, but like I guess because he can't depend on his own, like his, I guess, more favored. So anyways, continue. But
and I think, and we figure out why I think that she's his more favored child, right? And obviously, so the Carlisles, it's clear they have a lot of technology, right? So this is a post-apocalyptic world. This is to keep in mind. However, they are very technologically advanced as far as this family. They have, you know, genetic things going on, everything like that. So they're very technologically advanced. So he thinks that Jonah somehow is in on all this.
Yeah, and in this, it is important to note too that in this world there's no government, there's no countries too. So that is important, because that comes into play later on, and that's why you call them families. That's what Amanda's talking about. So when you call them families, we have it's like we don't have government or countries, but there's still borders, right? Which is kind of crazy, which we'll get into, and it's part of the story.
Well, yeah, it's like a serfdom. So it's almost like it was looking like back at serfdoms, or like the shogunate kind of deal, where but obviously his thought was like, okay, what was that? What if that was a modern world? What if we went back to that in a time where we had like food scarcity and things like that? So I can see where like all this like idea and framework came from. And they even call them like serfs too, right?
They do. Yeah, well, they call them, anyone who's underneath them are called, like, who's not in service of them directly, are called the waste. Yeah. And I'm guessing that means, because something we find out later on is they can do genetic testing and all that stuff. And if you don't measure up to their standards, you can't serve for any of the family, at least for the Carlisles. I imagine it's the same way for the other 5 families that rule in this new world too. Is they are very heavily testing people to see who meets their criteria. Anyways, and so yes, Charlie, we were able to get tickets. By the way, I cannot address that.
We got lucky.
Yes, Maddie texted at 7:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. It was like, I think the tickets are going on sale today. And I was pulling into Panera Bread, and she's like, it's on, they're on sale. And I was like, Fandango app, go, we're getting the fan event, go, it's done. Okay, now I can go.
Thank God. Oh my God.
I texted at 8:00 saying, hey, did anybody get the tickets? So
Omar's
nobody bothered thanking me for getting too late. Look, I was busy reading my newspaper in the mornings.
Here's the funny thing. I'd already purchased tickets, gotten my bagel, got back in my car, was sitting at the stoplight. Omar texts me and says, Amanda, Endgame tickets. I was like, I know, they're already bought. Go read the Facebook message chat between the 3 of us.
That's not the first thing I do in the morning. I'm so sorry.
Yes. Anyways, so yes, Charlie.
Look what you did, Charlie. We're no longer talking about Lazarus.
This is Lazarus, but
this
can't.
This is not Lazarus anymore. It's gone into Endgame.
Yes. Okay. So obviously, so you have Forever, who is going off to try to figure out what's going on with Jonah. So obviously Mr. Carlisle doesn't trust Jonah. He thinks that he's up to something, and he thinks that he might be working in cahoots with the Moray family. So he wants to send Forever into Moray territory to have a conversation with the patriarch of the Moray family and come to some sort of agreement to pretty much avoid any type of inner family or any family fighting. Now, in the meantime,
the way they do that is so cool.
Oh,
like I like how the Lazaruses talk to each other because like it's almost
Joaquin.
no level of face to face between any of these family leaders.
Yes.
Because, hi, my father says this, and Bert's like, my mother says this. Okay, and then they go back, which I kind of fun.
So then you get the realization that Jonah and Joanna seem to be up to something, and that's where I think Omar showed you the image of them together, right? Did he? I don't know.
That's what brothers and sisters do.
They give each other baths.
Give each other baths when they're 5 and
as they're
6.
adults. Yeah. So so that happens, and he thinks that Forever is onto them. So he sends his little goon to come and try to find her. But of course, she outwits the guy and says, hey, leave me alone. Stop trying to follow me. I'm going to kill you. And so she heads into Moray territory, which Jonah knows about because he has that guy tracking her. His name is Mason. And she meets Joaquin. Is that how you pronounce it?
Oh, God.
He is the Lazarus.
He's their Lazarus.
The handsome Lazarus, yeah.
Well, I think all Lazarus.
Yeah, bro. Oh, guys, their relationship. As soon as they were together, I was like, "Yep, there it is. There's my romance I was looking for. Not the two twins. This one. This is."
Yeah, and I read ahead, so like, it gets a little more.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You read
really
I've loved before level of
like really.
I'm excited.
We can't have a show without bringing that movie up.
So all the boys on before. We'll do a review of it
This is
for
the
Omar.
man candy that they're talking about right here. He is a badass.
He's so cool.
He is so cool. And he basically, first they were all Moray's people were going to kill her, but he's like, wait. No. We're going to take her and we're going to see what she has to say. So he takes her to his father, which is the head of the Moray clan, and they basically have a discussion. And that's my daughter. And so they go and have a discussion together, and they basically come to terms as far as an agreement that whatever he had with Jonah, he's not going to follow that. And that, Lyndon, please put your hand down, honey, while I'm talking.
It's such an interesting topic when Lyndon's around.
It's just really.
So I was about to show the image of how cool she is when she's being surrounded by.
Show that image. That's a really cool image.
But like your daughter's right there. All right. Well,
I don't think she really can see. Like
she can. Oh man, she's gonna have nightmares now. She's gonna be like, oh, it's okay to chop guys' hands off if they touch you. Got it. Duly noted, Mom. Man, she's such a cool character.
She is. And so this is what I'm talking about, this scene where she's meeting with the Moray family, with the head of the Moray family. And I just love this interaction between them. And it just goes to show you the respect that a Lazarus has within this community. Whatever they are, whatever they really are. Because we find out, is it within the last pages where we find out that she's not, where she's not actually human and that she is basically a genetic makeup android, if you will, but she is not human. So she is not a biological child of Mr. Carlisle.
But she does not know that.
No, but she does not know that. The rest of the children know that. And maybe that's why there's a little bit of that discord and a little bit of that they don't respect her in some respects, is because they know that. And because there's a conversations here with Joanna and Jonah, because Jonah's worried that, she's made it into Moray territory. He wants to he sends a bomb after her, right? Or a plane with a bomb, saying as soon as she crosses the line, bomb her so that she's to the point where she can't even be rebuilt. And that way, no one will know of his treachery or of Joanna's treachery. And that's the plan they're concocting right here in the pool before they make love, I guess. Mm-hmm. So then Mr. Moray, of course, comes to an agreement so that he gets some low hydration grains. Okay, there's, some talk about trading and things like that. So basically they make a trade and make a deal so that the families don't go to war. Whatever plans he had with Jonah are officially canceled, and Forever gets to return home and let her father know that everything is good with the Moray clan. Because obviously I could see war would just never be pretty in this kind of a society. They don't have mass, it would just be a nightmare. So her and Joaquin are having a nice intimate moment in the sunset, heading off to turn her back over the line. And as that happens, like I said, the bomb comes and blows them up. Now, it doesn't destroy her completely as they thought it would. And this is where you get some interesting stuff. So she's not destroyed completely.
This is the cover that reveals, what they really are and things like that. What Lazarus are made of. This is what Amanda was talking about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I really like that cover. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No, I agree.
They're different too, right? So it's not like all Lazarus are the same. So like the technology that they have, that she has in her, is different from other families. Mm-hmm. So this kind of, we get like a kind of a view where the other Lazarus, her dude, is more mechanical, right? And they touch on that more later as well. But this is where we see her as more of a bioengineered person. And we kind of figure out as we go on that maybe that's kind of the special thing that the Carlisle family has access to. Those are the skills, which I think is interesting that this will be developed, but how each family kind of has their own thing.
Exactly.
We get little touches of that as we start.
And this kicks off my favorite issue because you get that's her origin issue, how she got trained to be who she was and things like that. So we get a lot more flashback of her childhood.
Yeah, I like that. I like that second volume a lot.
And I liked that character too. She was introduced in the first one in a small flashback.
Sybil?
Yes. Mm-hmm. The lady that trained her. I like how cold she was to her. So we get more of that in this volume here, particularly right here, the beginning of this chapter. So
awesome.
Hey, Amanda, maybe you and Lyndon that'll be like your mom-daughter cosplay.
That'd be awesome. I'll be Sybil. She could be a little, she'll be a little Forever. You want to do that, Lyndon? She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So obviously she is bombed, but she is not killed. And you have a really interesting little side thing happening while she's getting attacked by Jonah's operatives, if you will. You have Joanna get Mason, the lackey. She asks him to come in and hit her as hard as he can, many times, like Jonah did it. And so basically, you have Joanna turning on Jonah. So a lot of betrayal going on. Besides Forever being betrayed by her own siblings, you have Joanna betraying her twin brother, and then of course, Joaquin and Forever defeat the operatives who had came after her. And meanwhile, while all this is going on, her sister Bethany and the physician James are monitoring her because they're the ones monitoring all of her outputs and things on the computers. So they recognize, oh, something's wrong. She's been attacked. She's suffering severe injuries. So they can monitor all this. So this is all going on while she's fighting back against the operatives that were sent in to kill her. And then you have Jonah who's upset because his plan has failed. And then he sees Joanna who's all beat up and she's saying, I can't believe you did this to me. And basically he's running for his life now and he escapes because Joanna's turned on him. His father knows that he has betrayed him and he needs to get the hell out of Dodge. And so he makes like a bandit and leaves on the first helicopter out of there. And I think, does that pretty much end this first? No, this doesn't really end it. So basically, after she tells her father, or she sees her sister all, beat up, and her sister's like, I'm so grateful you're here, and I'm so happy to have you. And all I keep thinking of is, you little lying piece of crap. Then she gets this email message. And it says, from an unknown person, he is not your father and this is not your family. And that is how this volume of this first book, Family, ends. So it goes through this whole segment of Forever protecting her family, only to find out that at the very end,
she wasn't even one of them.
She's not even one of them.
Now, I don't know about one of the things I love about the hardcovers is all these extras in the back that explain the world. And I think do they do that in the trade paperbacks?
No.
Because it is I think these help me understand exactly where they are. Because of course we know that they're around the Mexican border during the story, but then it goes in through does the whole families around the world, including like who the people are in the family.
Oh, wow.
That would have been really helpful because there's a lot of names.
And there's been a lot of them, happen to look
territories.
alike too, in a lot of territories, right? So I thought that's one of the pushes that I have for the hardcover is that it has all these extra things in the back that come in
That would have
handy.
been nice. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and it gives you
a stopping point for me too, because it's really hard for me to
timeline.
like retell things. There's a lot of like names of people, and some people look similar because it's a family. And so like
Yes.
go back and be like, okay, who is this? Well, I don't exactly know. All the black people look the same to me, so I don't. It's hard for me to keep track of.
There's too many spoilers in this podcast. Well, I think we said that at the beginning, right?
Did, yeah.
And you're also on YouTube. So
Spoiler City Central, buddy.
yeah, we have to talk about spoilers. So Smotlock said that this was part of the Lazarus source book comic.
Oh, great.
So
okay.
they probably collected some in here and then some in the second hardcover.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep,
And Joe Chip wants you to ask Lyndon what she would rate Lazarus. Would love to hear her opinion.
Yes. Well,
I gave it
bored and she went back to Mary Poppins. So
3 Ariels out of 5 Rapunzels.
Yeah.
So yeah, then they have all the extras back here, like all the posters. And things
see
in the back.
that would
really
make
wicked.
the hardcover worth it. Definitely. Oh, don't worry, Basti. We will be rating Lazarus.
From 1 to 10 is actually our rating system.
That is our rating.
All right, so let's talk about Lift, which is the second story arc.
Yes,
in here.
it's really where it picks up.
And I think this is where it picks up.
Yes.
And you're doing a really good job, Amanda, of going issue by issue. You asked me to take over, and I'm like, I was just going to talk about the overall arc, but you're on issue 2. And then you have a baby on your lap, and I'm like, I can't even do this without a baby.
Yeah, well, she's watching Mary Poppins Returns now, so we're good. She's back to her original thing. So we got Lazarus Lift. So that's the next story we're going to talk about, and that will conclude the hardcover volume 1 as far as the storylines. So there's a lot of different stories going on within this issue, and since it's 8:30, I'll try to keep this one a little bit shorter. And so basically, it starts off with a flashback, right? And Omar already mentioned this, right? About her training with Sybil, and she's a young girl, maybe 12, 13, not very old at all.
Yeah. I mean, we don't really know her age, right? We just know that she's definitely very, very young.
Yes.
Like I'd say even 8, because we kind of get like a yearly view of her then, right?
Oh,
because
that's
her
true.
shows up for her birthday or something like that.
Yes.
That's
And when you realize and it's so sad because when you realize she's not ready, he leaves her gift and says, "Don't tell her I was here."
Yeah.
Like, gosh. And all this girl wants,
she's like has to fight her mentor, right? And basically the whole thing is the threat to her is like either you defeat your mentor in front of me, or I'm sending you away or disowning you. It's a dynamic where he even says at that part, right, where you hear him talk about the way that he manipulates her and just like, he gives her love even though he doesn't love her. He wants her to believe that she really is his father, and he cares about her, that she's part of the family, and yet he knows she's just a tool. And so that's the whole point of this. And so he has to give her that abusive relationship like cocktail, right? Where it's like love on one hand and then like extreme abuse on the other, which is like hey, fight your mentor and win and kill her, or I will disown you and you're nothing to me. Also, you can't see any of your siblings or be in the news or actually be part of this family at all. Okay, bye.
I mean, it's rough seeing these flashbacks with her and her father. Because at first I thought in the beginning when I read the first volume, I really thought he did care for her. And maybe he does now as an adult. But back then, man, it was heartbreaking. Yeah, it was just heartbreaking to see that storyline. So that's one of the storylines that's being played throughout. Her fighting with Sybil, learning her techniques, getting ready to become, I guess, worthy, kind of like Thor, to her father. And so you have that storyline. And then you also have the other storyline of this family. And they live on the, I guess, outskirts of the Carlisle territory. And they've need water, or they've had a flood, their stuff is beyond repair, and the only option for them is to try and go to what's called the lift. And it's go ahead.
No, this is really important, but it is hard to keep up with. What Greg Rucka does is, I like that shirt, Amanda. What are you sporting there? Can you stand up a little bit?
Let's see.
What does that say?
I love this shirt. It says near mint condition, buddy.
Yeah, that's what's up. So what Rucka does is when he introduces new characters or new places, he writes who the territory belongs to and then how many of the family members reside in that area. But it gets really confusing when you start introducing more and more families later on.
Yeah.
So that's why you go back and flip back to the source book, because that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
And you were like, hey, can you recap issue 2? I was like, oh, maybe. Is the Hawk family in that? No, I don't think they appear until like issue 5. But anyway, that's a really cool, but like I said, still in a little confusing way, how he tries to simplify things. But you were saying that we're introduced to these people that are out there in the outskirts.
Yes, the outskirts. So it's family. Casey and Michael are the kids.
Dang, you got a good memory.
I'm probably going to forget the parents' names. Parents' names aren't probably that important because it's really about the kids.
Yeah, it's about the kids. And man, this story, somebody mentioned this is dark. I think it was Batsy.
Yeah, he did.
And it gets a lot darker. It gets a lot darker. Which is good.
Black Mirror episode almost is what it like.
Oh, it reminds me a lot of Westworld.
Yes, very much like Westworld too.
But anyway, go ahead.
No, you're good. And basically, so you have this family who, everything's beyond repair. They decide to go to the lift. The lift is a huge event, if you will, where all these people who are considered waste, they come to get analyzed. We mentioned this earlier, analyzed and tested by the Carlisle family to see if they are good enough to be in the service of the family. Because once you're in the service of the family, it's a creepy porcelain doll. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, why would you have that in your family? Have you not seen Dolls movie, the horror movie?
This is from when I was 8 years old. So hey,
yeah, and it probably has the soul of your 8-year-old friends in her too.
Anyways, so basically, this lift is where you come in the service family. So they are going and traveling. So it's these parents and their two, don't scream, honey. Their 2 children, and then another child from one of their friends, and he's like, basically just take her. I'm not going. I won't make the journey, but take her because she might be able to, might be able to move up and be lifted into the service of Carlisle. Because once you're in the service, you get protected, right? You get better living, better housing, better way of life, right? Even if you have to serve the family.
And also dating the son, right? So like they're a thing.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Yes, Casey and Michael are a thing because they are dating. So it kind of makes sense for her to go along with them. And so they're making that journey. At the same time, you have another storyline of a group of dissidents, if you will, who are trying to get materials to build a bomb, because their whole goal is to try to free the world from these families, and they are going to bomb the Carlisles, and they are going to try to destroy them one way or the other. And when they're at a facility to locate the materials that they need, Lyndon, sit down, please. They, one of their girls, Emma, tries to distract the guards using her feminine wiles. And of course, they're caught and they manage to escape, but she doesn't escape. And Forever's the one that catches them. Mm-hmm. And so this is where Forever, she is interrogating this girl, trying to figure out what this dissident group's agenda is with Joanna. And Joanna comes in and uses hers whole idea of these people just want a better way of life, right? So what can I give you, Emma, that's better? because you're so pretty and you could be an actress. Don't you want to be an actress? And Emma's like, yeah. So, of course, she gives up this group's location and forever goes in to try to terminate them pretty much, except someone does escape. His name is Angel. So along the way, you have that going on. And then you also have the flashbacks of her trying to get ready to, fight her mentor, because as her father said, you have to be able to defeat Sybil. So throughout the entire time, she's trying to figure out, as a young girl, she's trying to figure out, I don't want to kill my mentor because she's probably the closest thing this woman has to like a real sister or mother, as far as her. At
that time too, she doesn't even know that she has to. That was like what her father wanted, right? So it wasn't until like the actual fight, like with her mentor in front of her father, that her father was like, "Why didn't you kill her?" And she's like, "No, you didn't. That wasn't part of the agreement. You never said that." Which I think shows a lot about her too, because as we see going forth, she does have a conscience. She doesn't always do what everybody wants her to do, despite being like programmed to do so. And she is very cognizant of people's lives and like the best way to deal with that, which is like, and those little sprinkles of it kind of show you and give you glimpses of what she's going to be like as the story progresses.
I hate this. This is a really good question, and I think I'm going to miss it later on if I don't answer it right now. Basti's asking, is Lazarus ever going to get collected in an omnibus format? And I actually learned something when I was interviewing Nick Spencer, because we were talking about Image Comics and how they release these books, and I was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of an omnibus?" In a joking, like, hint, I want Morning Glories released in an omnibus format. And he said, "Yeah," and we thought about it. So honestly, it's up to the creator to decide how these books are collected. So if Greg Rucka wants an omnibus, that's the way it's going to be collected. That's why Robert Kirkman's Walking Dead is available in every goddamn format you can think possible, because he loves money. Whereas people that are into this for the artistic thing are like, yeah, whatever, hardcover, sure, let's do that. So it really depends on the creator. Did you just grab an animal?
Yeah.
She grabbed it.
Are you trying to compete with Amanda?
Yeah, he said, I need to have my own little co-host.
Let me open my door and let my cats and my two dogs.
I'm gonna go get my two daughters, my wife, and my neighbor from across the street.
No, not that guy. No, not that dude. Nope. This has turned really weird. It's gotten really weird then.
Natty light down here. We're gonna make this party turn cute. All right. Sorry. What the hell are we talking about? Lazarus. That's what we're talking about. But yeah, I wanted to answer that question really quick about the collection, the way that Image. It's not up to Image. It literally is up to the creator how they want this stuff collected. So in the end,
that's so interesting to me, because you think I would love it. Like
Ray caught that.
I love an omnibus. Like, wait.
What are you looking at?
Is Deadly Class Image?
Yeah, Deadly Class is collected in trade paperback and in those.
And
that's why my
boy
boy loves everything Remender has done. Is in those huge, tall, oversized hardcovers.
Yeah,
he knows
I would love an omnibus though, or something.
I think an omnibus would be good when this is over.
Well, when you have so much.
You have, volume 3, I think, comes out sometime at the end of. But volume 3 of the hardcovers come out. I think it comes out sometime in the end of the summer. And Smotlog said there's a new ongoing series, like a quarterly series that's coming out. So it's still not finished. That is one thing. It's still an ongoing series. That's why we're only covering the first book. That'd be really cool, Smotlog fix in one volume. That'd be awesome. I want him to finish out Morning Glories. I love that book. So, that's Omar, Lyndon. That's Omar. So, that's Omar. Where were we, Lyndon?
Where were we, Lyndon?
I can jump us back in.
Go ahead. Yeah, you got to jump back in. Where were we at?
So all we talked about leads up to basically the culmination of this arc, which is at the lift itself. So luckily our family most of the way makes it through, with the exception of Casey. So as they go through the process, she is not chosen. Basically they do several different checks, and one of those checks is just a check of the body to see if you have any diseases that you can give anyone or anything like that. And for Casey, they find out that she has a potential to develop breast cancer. And so she's not chosen. She doesn't even have breast cancer, but she could potentially one day get breast cancer. So she's ultimately not chosen to be in the lift. Now, around the same time, she also runs into Angel, correct? His name, and they've talked before on the way in, and she runs into him, and she's like, "Oh, you didn't get chosen either." And then he turns around, he's got bombs strapped to his chest, and she realizes why he's there. And he says he's there to make the family bleed their own blood or something like that. And then he stabs Casey because he can't have any witnesses or anyone starting anything. So now we know that Angel's there to blow everything up. Now, as with our other guy, I always forget his name, her boyfriend, the other Michael. So Michael is lucky enough to get through. He's basically an ideal person to have. He's very smart. He's very inclined towards science and medicine. He's very healthy. So he makes it through, and so is his family without Casey. And he's able to go and meet the family, and he's accepted to join in. And Forever is there as well. But Forever knows something's going to happen, so she's trying to move everybody out. And just as she does that, she runs into Angel. And before she can kind of get him beaten down and like get his bomb taken care of, Casey swipes in right at the last second and stabs him and ends up being able to join in, which is great. Unfortunate that she had to like be stabbed and stab a dude to be able to join the family, but well, not the family, they serve the family. But basically that's how that cycle right there ends. Now, before the end of the book, we also see what happened to Jonah. So as Jonah is on his way to talk to the, I have to keep looking this up, so sorry, but the Hawk family. He ends up getting knocked, his plane crashes, and it's been thwarted by Joanna again?
I think so.
I think it's Joanna again. But basically, his plane crashes, and it's on his way to the Hawk family to go kind of get refuge from them, but it does not go how he plans at all.
Of course not.
Basically, he shows up, and they're like, no, you're worthless. You have nothing to offer us at all. There's no reason for us to have you. Basically, you're just a bargaining chip for us. Mm-hmm. And so they take him in, and even though he thinks this is going to be something where he gets to like get the upper hand on his own family, they drug him to learn more about him. And you don't see kind of everything, but as it ends, you see the leader of the Hawk family saying, there's something hidden in your body that I guess Father Carlisle, I don't remember his name.
I just call him Mr. Carlisle.
has kept hidden from me, and I'm going to get it. And he chops off a finger. I think it ends with that. So that's where that ends. And excuse me, I don't remember exactly how it ends because I read on to issue 3 or volume 3 without realizing it. But
I think that is where it ends. Yeah.
Concludes. So
that's it.
One thing. I know it's kind of hard to because I'm kind of bummed that I read farther, but glad that I read farther because I really like volume 3. And I think it really helped bring a lot of these first 2 volumes together. That being said, I'll try to rate it as if I didn't read that.
Well, I have previously read.
It's really good.
Well, yeah, and Omar's read all of it, right?
Yeah, I've read all of it
on hiatus.
So far, up until the point we went on hiatus last year, but it's picked back up, so I haven't read any of the newer stuff.
Yeah.
I will say I love the way that he builds this world. Like I like Rucka because he doesn't think I'm an idiot. That it's not everything. I always tend to describe things like this from like movies in the 80s, when movies in the 80s used to do the in a alternate dimension or in a distant future, things like that. Rucka just like lets you dive in head first into this world, not explaining a damn thing in the first issue. He's like, yeah, there's this hot chick with a freaking sword, and she might be related to these people. You're like, okay, yeah, cool. By the second issue, you're getting a lot more. You're getting a lot more information. You're like, okay, so she's their assassin. She may not be human, right? And then by the 4th, 5th issue, you're like, okay, she's not the same. The families are bigger, and the families have taken over countries, or what we call countries now, or hell, even continents in some cases. Yeah. So I think that's one of my favorite things about this book, and it just keeps expanding. His world building is amazing. I love what Maddie was saying When you get to book 3, it just becomes a lot bigger and bigger. Now, the characters, you're introduced to newer characters, but the same characters are still playing a big role. And I cannot talk about Michael Lark's artwork because cannot not talk about it because I think he makes the book just come to life. Amazing artist. So, what did you all think of the story, Amanda, Maddie? Like, were you all confused at first? Were you like, man, I don't? Is this one of those books that you had to push yourself to read, or were you just, I can't wait to read the next issue?
Not in the least. I felt it like it was very compelling to read, and that's why. I mean, the first section, family, I finished very quickly because
I wish I could screen grab you right there because it looked like you had a baby hand on your right hand. It was a baby arm. Or your left hand was a baby arm, and then anyway, it looked really weird.
Really weird. Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I felt it was very compelling. I instantly was very attracted to Forever Carlyle's character. As far as I needed to know more about her backstory, I wanted to know more about this whole family, the relationships, but also how this all fit into the world. I felt the way, like you said, the way he builds the world is so compelling that you wanted to read more because I just needed to find out. I need to know, and that's why I still need to. I want to read volume 3 so that I can keep reading and figure out more of what's going on, because I want to see what happens now to these other people that were introduced, Michael and Casey. And I want to see who the heck has been sending these messages to Forever, telling her that she's not part of the family. Who is it? Was it Jonah? I don't know. I just want to find out. It's so there's a lot of mystery there, and that's what makes it so great to, just to read, and all of the conflict between the people. And sometimes people have conflict and it's terrible and they're just doing it for the sake of conflict, but this is real conflict, and it just felt like it resonated throughout these issues, and it just made it that much better to read. So it wasn't hard to read at all. It was very easy. Now just remembering where they were at each part, going back and, okay, they're in Sierra Nevada. Okay, now they're Harvest One. That might have been a little bit confusing, but if it was a TV show, it'd be the same way. And then until you start getting a few episodes, once you get the first season in, then you're golden and you know exactly where everything is. And yes, okay. Not Luck. I would love them to pick it up as a series. It would make a great series. It
would be a really good. I think HBO has Westworld written by, one of the showrunners is Ed Brubaker too. So it would be like him and Greg Rucka just have worked together before. So
yeah, honestly, I think this would be great on Netflix or something, because I think there's a lot of shows that have the same sort of feel. Not just Westworld, but like shows that slowly build over time, like shows like the OA. Yeah. Like give me a similar feel to this. Yeah, I liked it. It didn't. I got more into it on volume 2, and again, for me, I'm very much like how my mood is at the time I'm reading something too. So that is not always very fair. It was a very
okay
day. So I was reading this, but I had other stuff going on too. So it affects how I take everything in. But I think volume 3 really cinched it for me and really makes me want to continue reading. I do think this would be very good as a show completely. I think this would be very adaptable for something like that. I'm interested in seeing how the world continues to grow and build, because I'm very interested in the politics of this place. Maybe it's my own background, but I'm like, okay, so how would this work internationally and diplomatically, and what are the security issues with this? And like, I'm just interested to see how this continues. But I really like the character. I think Forever's very interesting, much more interesting than anyone else in the entire story. I like her. I like her. I like how naive she is. I think that's very interesting. And I think it's very honest and true to how, someone who's raised in captivity and in abuse would be. And she has a lot of heart as well. So I'm interested to see how that continues and how she fights her own programming that she has. And it's interesting to see how her siblings continue to manipulate her as well. Not just her father, but how her siblings do. Because Joanna's really good at it. And she falls for it because Joanna has that skill set while other siblings don't.
But
Right.
she's also trying to find acceptance too, and maybe that's why she's easily manipulated like that.
And I think that's why, like, not to spoil too much, but as we meet more of the other Lazaruses, I think you get to understand more what she's like. And so I think that's what I liked. I don't know. So volume 2 and volume 3 made me like it more. But I think I like it a lot overall. But I'm glad I read more in one go, because I think if I just read volume 1, I don't know if I would have been as like eager to read more. So I'm glad that we went ahead and went in hard on this. And I want to read more. I hope we continue this later and read more and follow up like a Lazarus part 2.
I would love to, and then we can do volume 2 and 3 back to back. And
I think that'd be a good idea.
Part 2 readathon. We have a lot to read.
Apparently.
But this is, I mean, part of the reason why I started this, I had mentioned this in a comment, was because I wanted to dust off some of these books that I've had, and I wanted to reread them. And this was a really good thing, because I also wanted to introduce these two wonderful co-hosts to a lot of these stories that I think are great, or I thought were great, and then when I went back and read, I'm like, you know what? This isn't as great as I thought. I still disagree with them about the Dark Phoenix saga, but that's another story.
When did Lazarus come out? Sorry to interrupt you.
Lazarus was probably about 5-6 years ago was when it first dropped.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because some people look at these stories and I'm like, if this had come out 10 years earlier, it would be a lot more groundbreaking as far as like the story and like the types of decisions that they make. But
Gotcha,
like now, 2019, as far as like stories that have a female lead that are dystopias, that kind of like mirror our current world, but like if we had taken a different route, those are very, very, very common. So I think like when this came out, potentially like depending on when it came out, like how people would have gravitated towards that, and if they'd be more surprised or less surprised, because I think reading this now, this isn't something that's like new or groundbreaking, right? But I think when it came out, that could be a little bit different. Although there's a lot of like Hunger Games and stuff we're all coming up then too.
Yeah, we have had a plethora of dystopian future type of films. Young adult novels just took it and ran with it, buddy. They just went crazy.
You gotta write what sells, right?
It's true. I've read a lot of them too.
I'm still a sucker for those kind of movies, though.
Some of them are good. Some of them are not good.
Doesn't matter. I'll still watch them. Doesn't matter.
Omar, All the Boys I Love Before is not dystopian. That is real life.
Why are we bringing that up?
That would be cool.
Fanfic.
How does this show keep coming, or this movie keep coming back up on this show?
It bothers me. That's why.
It bothers me. Is that why? Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's like Bendis.
I still love the stupid 80s movies about what they thought a dystopian future would look like, or an apocalyptic future would look like. So I'm still a sucker for things like that.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Overall, I really enjoyed this. Reading it the second time around, I just read it yesterday and today, and it felt like I had known the characters a while. And Amanda, I just want to say you have a damn fine memory, because I couldn't remember some of these characters' names, and I just read it today. Now, and you have a baby on your lap. I made that comment earlier, but damn, that's crazy, because I feel like I just read this. And other than, Forever, Sybil, and a couple of other characters, I'm like, I don't even remember who they were. Like, I just remember, what was her name? Lee, the girl that gets shot and killed from the family.
His actual sister, I guess.
Yeah, the sister.
That's
the only. I just remember because that was such a heartbreaking part the first time I read it. Now that my daughters are a little bit older, I'm like, oh man, that sucks. I know the mom's holding her.
Because she left Michael and Casey to be alone for some alone time. She goes out.
Yeah, she was doing the right thing. She got killed.
Hoarders or scalpers. I don't know what you want to call them. I can't think of the word.
Hoarders, squatters.
Squatters.
Something.
Highway roadmen or whatever.
But anyway, my point is, I'm just impressed that you were able to remember all that. So you have a damn fine memory, and I'm glad you're on the show, because I do not.
I think it's just something that I do.
Unless they're X-Men, and then that's a different story.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, let's go through the rating system.
Yeah, let's do our ratings.
What do you What do you all give it? Maddie, what do you give this? First 10 issues.
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Fair enough.
I think that'll be higher with Lazarus Part 2 read through.
Okay. Amanda, what would you give this book? The first hardcover.
First hardcover?
Yeah.
I would give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a solid world build. It was if I look at it as just the world building aspect and introducing these characters, I thought it was a pretty solid way to do it. I wasn't really disappointed with how they went around doing it. So I would give it an 8 out of 10.
I am going to give this an 8 out of 10 as well. Because I know what's coming. I know it gets better. Just remember that. So it gets a lot better. I remember having an argument with my brother when I did my top 20 non-superhero comic books of all time list. It wasn't an argument. He just disagrees with my choice, a couple of my choices, and he's like, Lazarus needs to be in there. And I'm like, Lazarus isn't over, so I don't know if it's going to end like crap or not. But I put Saga in there, and he was like, Saga isn't over. It could end like shit,
but
too.
That's different.
I'll listen to you. You sound like me when I'm like, it's Brian K. Vaughan. It's not going to end like shit. It's going to end beautifully, and everybody's going to be dead, and I'm going to be crying.
I do agree that an ending can totally make an entire series. That's why a lot of times with ongoing stuff, I'm waiting, because if it has a really good ending, that can change how I feel about everything for me.
Right, and that's why I like doing...
It can be really good and have a bad ending, and I've decided that I'm going to be mad about it forever.
Right, so, and that's why... when we do this, I like to cover. That's why I kept putting this book off, right? Because I'm like, oh, it's still ongoing. It's still ongoing. But I think enough of our viewers pushed it enough to. We had like 250 votes. So I think enough of our viewers wanted us to read it. So we're like, oh, okay, sure, it's not over yet, but we'll read it. Because an ending can make or break the TV show or the book.
Yes. We had that conversation where you're like, name the best TV endings. I was like, honestly,
oh yeah,
a lot of TV endings fall flat for me, so I'm really struggling to find a good one.
Are you still thinking? That was like over a week ago.
It was the car ride home chat after C2E2. Yeah. I still can't think of what I consider a great TV ending, but Game of Thrones hasn't ended yet. So 6 Feet Under and Friends are the ones to think of.
I don't know. What end? I don't remember any endings. I feel like everything just gets canceled before it has a real ending.
It really does. It really does. Everything I literally watched.
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
No.
Said no one ever.
Yeah, well, Smalllock's right. Dexter and Lost.
And anything.
Oh man, I'm glad. Let me tell you, I saw the ending of Dexter, and I'm glad I stopped at like season 3. I'm glad I did not waste my life and watch the other seasons because.
What happens when the cast dates each other, then they are married and break up?
I do the same thing with a lot of shows, though. Like the shows that I devoted a lot of time to that I really enjoyed, I do go back and watch like the finale. Have I given my rating? We've given our scores, right? Okay. I couldn't remember if we gave our scores.
2 8s and a 7.
2 8s and a 7. What is that? A 7.75, whatever. Yeah. I feel like I've done that with a lot of shows that I devoted a lot of time to, like The Office. I stopped with season I stopped before even Michael left, but I did watch the episodes where he left, and then I came back and watched the finale, and I'm like, man, glad I got out of that boat. That was a sinking ship, man.
Office.
Let me see. I'm trying to think of other shows that I did that with.
Parks and Rec has a really good ending.
Yeah, it does.
Parks and Rec remain pretty good for the most part. A lot better than The Office. It didn't
go on as long as The Office, which should have ended at season 7 when Michael
The Wire. Who said The Wire? Thank you. The Wire. Oh my God. How did I forget?
Breaking Bad.
All day, every day. Yeah, Breaking Bad is one of those shows that I remember getting my friends hating the fact that I said, no, Breaking Bad is okay. They're like, what? You don't think it's genius? And I'm like, no, I think it's, it's okay. Because it's one of those shows I think you either love or you don't like, and then there's few people that just think it's okay. They're like, man, but you sympathize with the villain. How could you, that's so revolutionary? And I'm like, yeah, they did that in The Sopranos, remember? And they were like, shut up! Yeah,
and Dexter.
Dexter, that's right.
Dexter was just not. Yeah, that thing was.
Philip, that last season of The Wire.
I mean, not in a way that I idealize them, but fake ones.
Yes.
Not real ones.
Not real ones. Never real ones.
S.H.I.E.L.D. was solid. I like that Smalllock. That's why I went on to watch Sons of Anarchy, and that series lasted 3 seasons too long.
Yeah.
Rome was great. And, Rome was one of those shows that benefited from its cancellation because that season 2 ending was solid. I like that ending. Rome was the reason, by the way, they canceled Deadwood, which broke my heart. But that's getting a movie and it's coming back. So
I
I'm
was really
excited about
surprised
that.
by that and
I just
excited.
can't wait to hear Cocksucker again. I've missed
Yeah.
that guy so much. Yeah, HBO does have a solid
They do.
track record. Oh man, Felix, are we talking about The Wire? Because I agree. If you think the final season's better than season 2, I completely agree. I was not a fan of season 2 of The Wire. Yeah, can't wait for the damn Deadwood movie. Yes, I love how this show has gone from Lazarus to talk about good HBO shows.
That's what's fun about over a new reader though, because like the last 10-15 minutes are just kind of chill.
Yeah, we are really chill people. Somebody said give him a shout out. Who was that? Is that Batsy? Basti Bueno. All right, shout out to Basti if he's still in the chat. There you go, man. Buffy had a great ending. I agree with that. I like the ending of Buffy.
And the ending of Angel was good. I feel like.
I love the ending of Angel. Even though he got canceled, I still love that last line.
I don't know. I've never seen the ending of Angel.
Fake
I did see the ending of Buffy though, because I just watched that one episode.
Joe Chip, you gonna mention Jim Mint in my show?
What?
Put that man at it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I thought it was really sweet. I think he reviewed the book with his wife, the Incal, which is like I mentioned before on the show, it is a very unique book. It's the European style of storytelling, so it's a lot different. Kind of like in the way that manga is different than American comics, even independent American comics. I think it has a different feel. But Amanda, you got to go back and watch all Buffy.
Yeah, I think Maddie's going to make me. Don't worry. It's going to happen.
I was just hurt because I feel like my life was a lie.
It's not.
My life was a lie.
I still love Buffy. Look at all those.
Look, I don't care how much
all those books.
You own.
Look at all those books up
fake
there.
fan.
Look,
Whatever.
Please. I was obsessed
still
with her.
Fan. I don't play that here.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
All those books. Look at this. Look at this figurine from the 90s. Look at her. I loved her.
Yeah, she's got that season 4 through 5 look going for her.
I think that's what this is. I had Willow too, but she lost an arm somewhere where my mom was moving her around. So, anyways.
Buffy, I'm only one book away from completing my collection, and I can do my Buffy reading guide.
Yeah, there you go. Because I kind of would need that. Because I want to read the comics, but I have no idea where to start.
Well, there's no good articles about it. Not a single one.
Great.
Well, the library editions did a good job collecting Buffy, but then they dropped the ball on a lot of the other sites. Like, oh hell, they even collected what's it called, right? Well, who's the Future Slayer? I really liked her.
Frey.
Yeah, they did a really good job collecting that run too.
Yeah. It's just hard to figure out where to go after the shows are done. Like just those comics. But don't worry. I've figured it out for everybody.
Yes.
We can do a video.
You should do a readathon video of all the books that are out of print, so everybody's like, damn it.
Sorry, you can read them on Comixology.
Oh, we'll see, even better. I can read them then, because I have Comixology.
Let's see. Ray said this may sound sacrilege, but he thought the Lost ended well.
You did too, didn't you?
Yeah,
or
I dug
you thought it ended fine?
I think it ended fine. I know a lot of people hated it, but I didn't think it ended that bad. I know Brian K. Vaughan did not like the ending of Lost because he left in season 5. He was like, I know he was at the table reading and they were talking about the ending and he was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going back to comic books. I don't need this. And that's how he walked out of that show as a producer. So I know I'm not alone. So Smotlock also hated. So there you go, Smotlock. Brian K. Vaughan agrees with you. He hated the ending of Lost as well.
Hey, puppy.
Ziggy ruined 4 seasons of The Wire. Dude, and you know what, Felix? David also used him in his other show. Shit. It was about the soldiers. What was it called? Generation Kill. He used that actor. I can't stand that actor because I always think of Ziggy. I hated that character so much. of season 2 of The Wire. By the way, that's what we're talking about. Generation Kill. Yes, Smotlog. A good show, but once again, Ziggy was in that goddamn show. Couldn't get past the first few episodes of Lost. Always sounded like Matthew Fox was running a marathon.
Oh,
So
Matthew
frustrated.
Fox.
Who was your favorite character in Lost? Do y'all like Charlie? I was a Charlie guy.
I like Charlie too. I mean, I
Would you
thought
like-
Ian Somerhalder was hot. Does that count?
Is that the guy that got killed in the first season?
No, him and his sister had that their weird thing, and they got killed like
He got killed in season
seconds.
1.
Oh, season 1. You're right. It was. I thought it was season
And
2.
I always thought he looked like the guy that played Superman or Clark Kent in Tom Welling in.
They kind of look like, and they
like
both end up on CW shows. So yeah, it's okay.
So there you go. I should be casting CW shows because I know what white guys look alike.
Yeah. Nick asked me to do manga. Well, we can do manga for Wolverine. We just haven't done it much.
We've done some Junji Ito.
Oh, Uzumaki. Yeah, we did that, which I read in a dark form by myself.
Honestly, I was gonna. We were gonna.
Kurosawa.
We were gonna. Yeah, we are with Monster or 20th Century Boys, but that's a long read. It won't take that long though.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Firefly. What do you mean? As far as
the way
how
it ended, Firefly?
Well, considering
look, anytime somebody ever just interrupts a conversation with "How about Firefly," I'm okay with that. That's exactly how you interrupt the conversation.
Yeah. Funny, you all should mention Firefly.
Yeah, we have our upcoming
because
episode
we have an
next
episode
week, right?
next week about Firefly, so get excited. The three of us are in. I just edited it.
Part of my joke was as soon as the Women's History Month was over, I was gonna go like, okay, we need to read the most manliest comic book I can think of. And
So
I was
that's
thinking,
why we picked Hawkeye.
Unfortunately, I think that was Red Sonja. Was the manliest comic book honestly, it kind of was.
Typical masculine traits are.
Yeah,
she was very
freaking dude, which I loved about it. That's why I'm gonna get the hardcover. No, I was thinking of Berserk, right? But Joe Chip said, and Berserk is very like Red Sonja, so I kind of want to wait a little bit.
Well, it's super not done and never going to be done, so.
You don't know that.
Listen, you just gotta accept it. It's just like
listen.
It's never going to be done.
Just like what?
Hunter x Hunter.
Maddie, you need to quit being such a negative Nancy. When you get older, you're going to be like, it's going to be finished.
No.
I know it's coming.
I know
Joss Whedon is going to reboot Firefly. So
listen, the only thing I can trust in this world is One Piece. Oda's going to finish that book. That's it. I can't trust anyone else to finish anything.
Not if Miura kills him and he goes to prison and then he can't finish Berserk and then One Piece will be done. And then both you and I will be miserable. Death Note. I remember Death Note. I like that. Or I like the first few volumes of Death Note. They will do a solo to Firefly in the next few years. No! Wait, solo like in the Han Solo movie?
That's what I think he's talking about. That's why I was like, wait,
that's why I yelled no.
Like how Mal becomes Mal, like the brown coat revolution. Oh boy.
Alright, speaking of Tom Welling, what about the way Smallville ended? Okay, so once again, I watched Smallville season 1, and then I was like, what am I doing? I know where the story is going.
And bad. I mean, I liked how you have the reveal.
Yeah, but I'm not
reveals at the end.
I thought it was. I thought for a show that I only watched one season of and came back and watched the finale. Oh no, I take it back. I did watch the Justice episodes or the Jeff Johns Justice Society of America episodes. So I did watch those, and I watched And the finale, I'm like, oh, it took 10 years to get here. Good thing I didn't wait. Because for the same reason I don't watch Gotham. Prequels like that don't really... I don't know. I don't really get, but whatever. But I did like when he revealed the shield and they played the John Williams track. That reminds me of my childhood, so... That's good. Oh, and the dude killed it as Lex Luthor. What was his name? He did
Michael
the voice
Rosenbaum. I just put it in there, sorry. I was making a comment. Yeah, I love Michael Rosenbaum. He has a podcast which is hilarious with Dax Shepard. Is he with Dax Shepard? I think so. Do they do it together? Well, I know he has a podcast.
Are you asking me or Maddie? Because I feel like it's a Maddie question.
Maddie would know more than you do.
No, Dax's podcast is just with him.
Okay, then
Monica Padman.
So,
would Lex be short for something?
Alexander. That's what Corey wanted to name if we had a son, he was going to be Alexander's become Lex just because of Michael Rosenbaum, because my husband loves Smallville and we have all of the DVDs collections.
Yeah, I
He really
forgot he
loves
was a fan, but I think it
was
was more because he had a crush on Tom Welling than it was a good show, which
No,
is
he loved Michael
completely.
Rosenbaum. I think he might have had a crush on Lex Luthor. Um,
That guy's awesome.
but
He
we
did
got
the
a
voice
girl, so
of
obviously, and we didn't want to do
Flash.
Alexandria and stuff. So, anyways,
Once Lex and Clark weren't frenemies on
yeah,
Smallville, I lost interest. Yeah,
I
I
agree.
I did watch the earlier, like I think one season,
That was the
and I
most
remember
compelling part about it.
Christopher Reeves was in that season. Like he played a small role. My dad is
Oh,
62. He has watched every episode of Gotham. I just
speaking of
ask him how
Gotham, did
it's
everyone
going.
see that the preview that showed
Joker.
Joker?
Yeah, glad I didn't watch that show.
I me too.
I'm sorry, I sound like a hater. But like, it wasn't even a good show. Like, if I knew nothing about the Batman mythos, it wasn't a good show. Well, at least the first 5 episodes I saw,
Oh, we
including the
talk about
pilot, were
Arrow.
not good.
Yeah. No, we're right. We're not talking about Arrow, which is ending next season, and we already know Felicity's gone because she wrote her touching goodbye on Instagram in a haiku. I think it was a haiku.
Tom Welling, not so much of a great actor. No, he wasn't. He was just eye candy. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's not really doing much of anything these days, right? I feel like Amanda
No,
would know.
he did make an appearance on, was it Arrow or Flash or one of those? He made like a little cameo kind of
Like
thing.
a Elseworld appearance.
Maybe not on Elseworld. I think he played an actual character, like just a one-off like guest appearance. Maybe a villain. But yeah, he hasn't been doing much.
So what are we talking about the rest of the week? I know Amanda made a post on social media, and if you're not
Yeah.
following our social media, that is at NearMintCon on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yeah. So
What
next
what do we
week,
got for our calendar?
next week is Hawkeye, Matt Fraction run.
Awesome.
So
And that is, we're going to be talking about that on Tuesday, April 9th. We're talking about Matt Fraction's run on Hawkeye. I think it's 25 issues, 24 issues. I can't remember.
Yeah, it says on the back of this, it says 1 through 22.
22 issues. That's it.
22 issues.
All right.
So.
And the week after that
is Kevin Smith's Green Arrow.
Yes. Quiver.
Like we said, it's Archer April, guys.
Yeah.
Sort of. Except there's no Archer and Armstrong. We're not reading that. And on the 23rd was my choice. So here's the thing. We're gonna put up a poll on YouTube, but the 4 books that I had in mind were Avengers Disassembled, Civil War, Avengers Final Threat, and there was one more book. Damn it.
Civil War.
Oh yeah.
No, why?
Let me tell you, y'all gonna have to read it if it gets voted. Oh, okay, so Avengers Disassembled, Civil War, because I want to keep it Avengers theme because of the movie that's coming out. This little movie, independent flick coming out later this month.
Yeah,
I wrote it down. Sorry, and Ultimates. That was the other one, and Kree-Skrull War. So it's a bunch of different little stories, but I think like I don't want to get into the Kurt Busiek stuff because that's like my favorite Avengers run. I want to choose that, and I don't want anybody else to be like outvote that one. So it is once again, if you all want to vote in the chat right now, you totally can. But Avengers Disassemble or Civil War or Ultimates, the first 12 issues of Ultimates, Mark Millar's Ultimates, the Kree-Skrull War or Final Threat. And I love Final Threat. That's one of my favorite Avengers stories. And there you go. So we'll put that poll up starting tomorrow. We'll give it about a week, and then our viewers can decide which book we will read, or which book we will talk about on April 23rd. Yeah. April 30th, we still haven't decided. I think in stock trades we'll probably either do the book from the 23rd or the book from the 30th to do the 50% off at in stock trades. And with that being said, is there anything else you ladies wanted to mention tonight before we sign off?
Yeah, did you want to mention our big new thing we have going on?
We're adopting a child together for near mint condition because I need help making videos.
No. So one of the things.
Ultimates, Civil War. What is with you guys? Smotlock, what did you vote
I've read
for?
Civil War. Please don't make me read it again.
Disassembled to roasted. Yes. Oh, that's why you're voting for that. God. Okay. Yeah. No, you guys vote for wherever you want, and then we'll take the biggest vote. Sorry, Amanda, I interrupted you. We are not adopting a child. I was kidding.
We are not. So something that we're doing with the Near Mint Condition channel is we have recently started a Patreon. This is just a way if you want to support us, and by no means you have to at all. It's just a way for us to help grow our content, grow the show, and help us make better videos, get better equipment, and things like that. And so we have started a Patreon. It is live and up right now. If you visit our Instagram or Facebook, you can access the link that way, or our Twitter account. All the links are on there as well. And so check it out if you're interested. And obviously with the Patreon, we'll do some cool things for our patrons and everything like that. And so that's something that we just started, and we're really excited about it.
Yeah, and this won't change our video schedule at all.
No,
so
it won't.
We'll keep announcing it, but none of our other videos are going to be behind the Patreon. We don't do any early release or anything. That's not going to change anything. Just some people have requested that were interested in like supporting us, and so we opened it up, and there'll be some interesting things that we do in there. But as far as like our regular content, this does not affect it at all, except for maybe to help us do more. So
exactly. And yes, Basti, we'll do a DCEU discussion. We have talked about that after you'd posted. We do want to do one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun to see, to speculate, because it's even more. I have no idea.
Who knows? Even I would love to do one about the animated movies as well. That'll take a little more time to get going, because I'm still watching through all of the animated movies. But that might be one that has a little more substance that we can actually really talk about where that's going. Same with the DC Universe app.
Oh yeah, DC Universe app is about to own, because they're about to get like 60,000 freaking comic books.
Yeah, I can't believe that. I'm so glad I still have it now.
Me too. I'm so glad.
I finally have a TV app, you guys, for it, so I can finally stop watching it by connecting my computer to my TV via HDMI. So the world's changed.
What year?
TV app? Yeah, that's how I do it.
What year are you living in? Like 2005?
Well, I couldn't. My phone wouldn't just
I know.
AirPlay to the TV with
it's crazy.
Because it wouldn't work. It's broken. It's stupid. And so now I can finally use it.
Philip Evans, Avengers, meh. Come on, buddy. Sorry. Flip a coin between Civil War 1 and 2. God, I don't know which one's worse. I mean, I'll reserve my judgment for the episode. All right. So thank you very much for all that information, Amanda.
You're welcome.
That will be posted on our social media sites, right?
Tomorrow? Yeah, I'll be posting an announcement tomorrow morning about our Patreon too, so you'll hear it all there and everything like that. So
cool. I did a haul video today, and part 2 should be coming out tomorrow or Friday. I haven't decided, depending on my work schedule. So
yeah. Wait, we still have more stuff to. I'm so sorry.
Is there more stuff?
Yes. Okay. Other thing. What? So the 3 of us are going to be doing, starting on the 17th of April and then once every month. As you guys all know, Marvel's big crossover event, War of the Realms, is coming out tomorrow, first issue. So I'm going to be stopping by a comic book shop to go pick that up. And we're going to be doing once a month a review of, like, they come out bi-weekly. So the 2 issues that come out that month, approximately 2, maybe 3 issues, we will do a review of those. And so April 17th is when the second issue comes out, I believe. And so we're going to be doing a live review of the first 2 issues that have come out this month. So if you're interested in following that, if you guys are reading the current Marvel run,
you don't need to catch up on Thor either to enjoy that.
No, you don't. Like, that's what they said in the panel.
Jason Aaron said he made it reader friendly, where it's just a huge crossover event for Marvel. You don't need to be reading Thor or have read 2 years worth of Thor, but it helps out.
Well, yeah, I think I'm going to finish reading all the prep work beforehand, and as long as we have time and I'm moving, so long as that's not too crazy, I'm going to try to do a video about like what to read before, like if you want to, just like to help along and just kind of show you where to go. It's pretty self-explanatory as long as you read all of Jason Aaron's stuff for the past
Yes, and
years.
thankfully, if you watch our old new reader, we already did one of his Thors, so you're good.
We did one of his Thors.
Just watch that one.
It's a pretty quick read. I've read all of Mighty Thor
so
in
good.
2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why it was hard to remember stuff for Lazarus, because all I could think about was Jane Foster.
Oh, I know. And I'm also reading Avengers Final Host right now, and then getting ready to keep on reading after that. That's the new Avengers run that ties into this. So
yep.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that, like Maddie said. We'll kind of bring you up to speed where everyone is and stuff, starting War of the Realms. And so yeah, we're really looking forward to that. And then Omar and I are doing a review of Shazam that should probably air Friday because we have to do the stuff early because Omar's got a bachelor party to get to.
You can make it go live on Saturday.
Okay, well, we might make it go Friday. We'll see what happens. I can make it go live whatever I want.
You totally can. You can do whatever you want, man. I'm going to be gone this weekend, so.
That's right.
If the channel goes to hell, guess who I'm coming to blame? Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that we left out? Is that it?
We got a panel video on Thursday. It's about Transformers. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know you. I was like,
I can't remember.
We weren't in it. We weren't in it, Maddie. They were, so I don't know.
Oh, wow. You two.
And I'll never be in one.
You two would be completely awesome in a Transformers panel.
No, everyone saw how we reacted to the movie.
Show me some Gundam panels or something. Then
oh my gosh! Gundam is exactly the same as Transformers.
No, it's not.
Except Transformers don't need a little dude piloting them. They get their life from Vector Sigma, and I'm not going to get into that conversation. You call me a nerd? You have a giant $600 statue of Red Sonja behind you. You have no room to talk.
This is Wonder Woman right here.
Oh, God.
Red Sonja's over here.
Oh, I can't tell. It's dark.
Come on.
All right. Well, ladies, who wants to sign us off?
Okay, I guess I'll sign us off.
Don't even know why I ask. Go ahead.
So thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications of more great Near Mint condition content. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media channels at @NearMintCon. And remember everyone, if it's classy and cool, it must be Near Mint. Have a great evening.
Bye everybody. Before I go, Gio and Philip, you two are dead to me.